If we were in the hood, people would be ducking for cover. Gunshots for days, this thing sounds like. G'day mates! Welcome to AussieMotoVlogs. Today is the day we have reached our 6 months of ownership of this MT07. And I'm just going to give you a breakdown of the pros and cons and ownership of this bike. This will probably be my last ever breakdown review of the bike, because as I've said in previous videos, once I get my full license, I'll be trading this bad boy in and get myself a cruiser or a tourer. So yeah, we're enjoying this little death machine just for a little while longer. I think I've got about 8 more months left riding it. So yeah, we'll start off with just general costs of living for this bike. We'll start off with the fuel. Speaking of fuel, we're actually going to get some fuel right now because this thing absolutely gobbles up the fuel. So I ride this bike maybe 2 or 3 times a week to work, which is about 50 k's from where I currently live, so it's 50 k's each way. And after 3 rides, I'm pretty much scraping the bottom of the barrel. To fill up the bike, you're generally looking around $20 to $25, with current fuel prices being what they're at, which is around $2 something. Yeah, you're looking at around 25 bucks, 20 bucks on a good day to fill it up to a full tank, which isn't too bad. I fill up maybe once a week. As I said, I ride it maybe 3 times a week, so yeah, once a week I'll fill it up. Now, just jump into one thing that I absolutely love about the bike, and you can probably hear it right now. Woo-hoo-hoo! Is that exhaust, baby? Now, don't get me wrong, the stock exhaust, I had this complaint in the 1 month review. The stock exhaust sounds absolutely garbage. Like a little tin can is getting rattled. That's what it sounds like. But now I have got an Aftermarket Akrapovic, or Akropovic, however you want to pronounce it, exhaust. No baffle, and this thing sounds beastly. It is, without a doubt, one of my biggest highlights with this bike. Every time, no matter how many times it pops and bangs and you get that head turner that looks at you and goes, damn, you get a little bit of a chuckle going on inside. And this thing loves to backfire, and like on the D-cell, so D-cell pops. Look, listen to it. Oh, love it, absolutely love it. Can't go wrong with the aftermarket exhaust for this bike. It just sounds absolutely demonic. Yeah, you gotta love it. Alright, so we are approaching the fuel station. I shall fill up and then we'll continue with number 2. Alrighty, $20 again. As I said, 20 bucks to fill up this bad boy. Petrol's a little bit cheaper today, so that's always nice. Alrighty, so I've done a pro. Let's do a con. One thing I absolutely hate about this bike, and it's okay for the first maybe 10-15 minutes, is the seat. The seat on this bike, although I know it's a sports bike, naked, whatever, and sports bike seats are not supposed to be super comfy, but OMG, I tell ya, 10-15 minutes, it's fine. The seat's really good, but when you have to ride for more than like 45 minutes, like I have to do for work, when you're hitting that 45-minute mark, you are like, God damn, are we there yet? I need to get off. Sometimes there's been times where I had to stop multiple times and, you know, like stand up in traffic at the stoplights because my ass was so fucking numb. I tell you, it's no bueno. So the seat on this bike sucks ass after about 45 minutes. If you're riding for a little bit less than that, then yeah, it's good. But the padding goes really quickly. I love this exhaust, man. It sounds so fucking good. It's so nice. Alright, so a pro for the bike is that it is completely and utterly customizable. There are so many customizable options. The MT07 range, the MT range, whatever, has been around for years. So they've had years to find all of, did I say find? I meant design all of all of the parts, aftermarket accessories for this bike. And let me tell you, there are shitloads of them. At the start of owning this bike, I told you, yeah, I'm gonna own this bike forever, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. Things change. I do love this bike, but I don't intend on keeping it forever. There are bigger bikes. This bike is a little bit small for me. By no means uncomfortable, except for the seat, as I said earlier. But it is very sufficient. I just want a bigger, more powerful bike when the time comes. Is that so much to ask? But anyway, as I had said in that video, I wanted to do all these modifications to it. Now, I did get rid of the big, ugly elephant ear mirrors and got these beautiful bar end mirrors. And I got rid of that tinny exhaust. I also wanted to do a tail tidy, but at the same time, I was starting to weigh it out and be like, is it worth doing all of these mods on it if I'm just going to get rid of it in like 8 months? And don't get me wrong, I absolutely hate the big protruding pole thing that they added onto the back of this for your license plate and tail light holder. Like, who the hell signs off on that shit and someone's like, yeah, that, you know what, that's actually pretty damn good, when it's ugly as fuck. I don't understand why motorcycle companies do that. Just looks ugly. Everyone just wants a simple tail tidy. Anyways, a pro is that there's plenty of aftermarket accessories. There isn't really too many cons anymore. Like they were very changeable cons I had on the first original video, and to be honest, I've rectified most of those. So the only real cons that I can think of is what I've pretty much explained right now, and that is the fuel efficiency is trash, especially with the aftermarket exhaust and the higher flow that it has. It spits through fuel like crazy. The mirrors, I fixed that problem, changed the mirrors. Another pro which I'd liked in the original hasn't changed, and that is the lightness of the bike. Look at it, like you can just throw it around. It is super light. Now the gearing on the bike, I feel like it has very long gears. A bike either has short gears or a long gear, which if you don't know what that means, it's how fast it takes for you to have to shift the bike. See, I can roll through the entire gear and not need to change gears. The bike doesn't want to kick over to another gear just yet. So the gear's quite long on this, which is pretty good. You get to ring it out. Not so good if you have cops around, because you got to be short shifting everywhere, and the bike doesn't really like short shifting too well. Another pro I have for the bike is, well, the downshifting, the rev matching downshifting. It doesn't have an auto rev matcher, but it is super easy to rev match and downshift this thing. The gears themselves are quite light. I know some gears you got to really clunk your foot up to shift it into a gear. This one, nah, not really. It's super light. You can just tap it up with your big toe, and down it goes in gear quite nicely. Stays in gear. I don't think I've ever missed a gear on this bike. Like, it hasn't slipped out of a gear or anything. Neutral is actually quite easy to find. Brennan has also confirmed this in his first impressions ride of the bike. Oh yeah, watch out for me, lady. Do you know what? I love this bike, and if I were to get a, you know, a sport bike, if I decided to not get a cruiser, actually, scratch that, rewind. I do intend to own a cruiser and a sport bike, just not this sport bike. But when the time comes and I'm looking to get a sport bike, I am looking at the BMW S1000 RR, or if I wanted to go naked route, I'd go the MT10, which is the biggest brother of this MT07. Now, I've never sat on one, but I presume it would be pretty much the same ergonomics and stuff as this bike, which isn't bad. I just changed out the damn seat. Listen to that. Pop, 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 pop. If we were in the hood, people would be ducking for cover. Gunshots for days, this thing sounds like. One thing that I liked at the start, but it's kind of become a negative for me, is the LCD screen. I've got a video out on how to adjust the brightness, but I've just felt like over the months that I've owned the bike, that the LCD screen, even though it's at its brightest point, still feels too dark, especially when you've got the sun blaring straight down on it like it is right now. You can barely see it. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but if the camera's struggling to see it, I can tell you that my eyes are struggling to see it. It's just not as bright as it was when I first got it. You look back at the 1 month review and you've seen how bright that was. Given it was cloudy at times back then, we just came off like 2-3 months of solid rain, and it was still cloudy and miserable. Like, the sun's coming out a bit now, but it's just not bright enough. That's a con for me. This bike. How can you hate it? You know that I'm going through all of these cons, and there seems to be a lot more cons than there is pros for the bike. But the cons that I'm saying are very, very nitpicky. If I wasn't trying to find an excuse to hate on the bike, honestly, the bike would be very, very well balanced for a first bike. So don't let these don't let these cons deter you from getting the bike, because honestly, even though it is a smaller bike for like someone of my size, 6'3", 110 kilos, it's a small bike, and I do look like a giant on a little toy. But this bike is fun AF. I do love this bike, and I think whoever rides it will. Oh, this fucking bike, I love it, man. Oh, it's so loud. It's such a cop caller. Yet no cops have been called just yet. Alright guys, that'll conclude it. Don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, and yeah, I guess me and Brennan will be back with some more videos very, very soon. Hopefully before the Christmas New Year period, so might get a couple more videos out before then. Until then, stay safe, don't do nothing stupid, and we'll see you guys later. Uru, uru, uru.